Good, beautiful afternoon from a spectacular view of Mount Hood here in Oregon. We're up in northwestern Oregon here. Mount Hood is the highest point in the whole state. This is 11,300 feet, 3,400 meters. Its last eruption was about 130,000 years ago. But rest assured, this is still considered an active volcano, so treat it as such. Now, I've been coming to Mount Hood for, I'd say, over 10 years. Now, it is October now, and beautiful and sunny and so forth, but this would be the least amount of snow I've seen on it, I'd say, at any time. In fact, walking up this gully to the left here, I've walked up through snow many times there, but this is all volcanic ash, and then a very tenacious white bark pine over here in the right. But a spectacular part of the world. I was just down in Hood River a little while ago, right at the gorge level, just a couple hundred feet above sea level. Now I'm up over 1,800 meters, over 6,000 feet, and up above Timberline Lodge, which I'll give you a view of in a minute here. But this mountain is one of those famous ones where you can even ski in the summer. But goodness me, it's looking pretty bare out there now. So if you talk about Timberline Lodge, obviously a good name for it, the Timberline here is clearly at about 6,300 feet or so. But it's tenacious life. Of course, volcanic soil is so nutrient rich. That's why there's so much farming. But let's have a spectacular view out in the distance. There is the lodge itself, built in the 1930s, and yet another volcano down to the south, down by Bend, Oregon there. In fact, just this view, you may need to scan in a little bit on your large screen wherever you're watching this. But out to the right or the west, you're down, of course, on the western slope of the Cascades. Lovely, generally lush, great farmland. Around here you have orchards and vineyards, and then out to the west you move into that desert area. Very dry, huge change in the environment. Well, of Washington to the north and Oregon down to the south. Now, the reason why, even though this can be very warm, the reason why there's permanent snow up on this mountain, as there is on all of these huge volcanoes that are up here in this Cascadian subduction zone, is because they're so high up, and really the low rolling Cascade Mountains are small enough that precipitation moves over, get up above that kind of line of 4,000, 4,200 feet, and it'll fall as snow. And so all the way down from Mount Baker, up by the border with British Columbia, down to Rainier, Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood here, down all the way to Shasta, in there in California, they catch enough precipitation that the snow builds up. This is just as perfect a day as I could ask for. This is considered active because in this Cascadian zone, the geologists tell us there are 161 active volcanoes. And so this one could well build up and blow its top at some point. Down in the south part of Oregon is Mount Montezuma, which of course, or Montezuma, which is the crater lake. That one blew its top about 6,000 years ago. Native Americans talk about that in their legacy. It's now the clearest lake in the world because it's so high up, and it's all that massive snowfall that melts into it. And because of the radiation, the lack of pollution, really there is no growth of bacteria or anything high up in that water, thus keeping it the bluest. That's down south. If we were to climb over the top of this mountain, or just to the top of it, we'd be looking north, up over Hood River, up to the Columbia Gorge itself, and Washington State to the north. You can see some tracks where they've been skiing up there. But boy, it's pretty short skiing this time of year now. But it is just so beautiful. I would have loved to offer this as a live virtual tour. And now that I see my reception so good, I'll be able to do that next time I'm here. But for the moment, let's just enjoy this fabulous volcano And as I wander up on this volcanic ash, of course, anyone who lives around the Pacific Ocean knows an awful lot about the Ring of Fire all the way down to southern Chile, and of course the most tectonically active country in the world, Indonesia. And right down here to the left, you see what is really a wash now. The term wash is where all your snow melts off a mountain in the spring. But that is an old lava flow down there, and that water makes its way around down the bend in the distance over here down to where there's vineyards and orchards, and you get right down into the Columbia River Gorge. And the gorge itself, Hood River, sort of straddles exactly this peak where we're here with the Columbia Mountains, or the Cascades, sorry, on one side, and then into this big internal plateau out here in the distance. And dry land out there. Of course, if you go straight south, eventually get down to California. And these are all earthquake zones too, because of the rumble in the earth of all these fabulous volcanoes, which are a genuine risk, but they're also so beautiful. And of course, on the license plates of Oregon, you have the beautiful evergreen tree, and so much of the state is forested. So much of the state has also struggled with pretty horrendous fires the last number of years. Some of that's good, some of that's part of the ecosystem, and some of that, of course, is a real concern. This is a ski hill, though, so the snow will start falling. Well, been a drought this year. This is, incidentally, 2022, early October, but hopefully by December they'll have lots of snow here now built up, lifts coming up and down. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here in beautiful Oregon, beautiful Mount Hood. Thanks for hanging out on the YouTube channel. I really use this as a backup when I can't give live virtual tours, but hey, I'd sure be appreciative if you'd subscribe and share it, because I need to get apparently 1,000 followers to become something, who knows what, eh? If you can't, that's just fine too. Lots of love, ladies and gentlemen, from Mount Hood up here high in the mountains. Oh, there's a bee out there. So peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Take care.